Hello, everyone, and welcome to Business Time Management Mastery. My name's Brad, and what is in for you? One, results. How can we save you at least 25 to 50% of your time, which also is 25 to 50% of your costs and how you're running it all? It's also about being free of the details. Once you get the right time management systems and processes into place, you can be free of the details. You can focus on what really matters. And it really creates incredible relationships inside of work. There's no more micromanaging. You can work autonomously. People can be away a lot more. It's not just about the owner's away time. It's about the team's away time, that things could actually run well without you. And it's super simple. Like there's actually step-by-step processes on how to do everything. Like it's so easy that even a 12-year-old to do it. So my goal is to run through some basics while still also listening to your comments so that you can answer, you can ask me anything you want at any given time. In my journey, just a bit about me, like I've been running companies for over 28 years. And I think that a lot of business owners start their business for freedom. Yeah, there's the financial freedom, but there is a much bigger proponent to that. It's the time freedom to do what you love with the people that you love geometrically more, way more time, right? To actually be doing that, to rather not be caged, to not only have 2 weeks off or be like stressed out. Like we only have so much time on this earth and it's our most precious asset. And so what can we do to have a lot more of that? And have the presence to actually be with them. Just a firm believer in that. So before diving in here, I'm just going to do a bit about me because that is a great question, especially when you're going to listen to people. It's, you know, I believe in like hiring successful role models only. As my dad would say, don't listen to a poor person on how to be rich. So, hey, if you're serious about having time freedom in your business, like it's going to run well without you profitably, and you're going to have time freedom for the team, you got to listen to people who are role models. Like I'm not the best out there, but I'm pretty good and I got a good track record. When I was 22, I graduated with an accounting degree. I was like, hell no to the firms. It's just something I believed in, I think, since 5th grade. And my dad also taught me that. Like he was always there. He always had the time freedom, what was going. So when I graduated, I'm like, firms, hell no, not going to touch you. Don't want to wear a suit. Don't want to count beans. Don't want to like be caught in like this weird ladder of just where creativity wouldn't be awarded. So I just then moved out to Colorado with my German Shepherd, where I started my first internet company on the side while I worked construction. So that took me about like 4 or 5 years trying to work some things in the internet. 4 years later, a product actually started working. I started selling some drums and percussion gear online. Next thing you know, it started clicking. 1 year later, I was able to quit that construction job and be like, okay, you know, not quitting the day job to make sure money's coming in all the time was a big part. Then a year after that is when I hired my best friend down in Arizona. Thank God for people who are loyal. That's when fast growth really kicked in, like serious growth. And I'm also a busy person, probably like you, like is in a relationship, dog owner, hockey player, love to be outdoors, love to have social fun, traveler, like, right? It's also about having that time for that. Then we got 3 more employees, and next thing you know, like things really started kicking in. Then in came the breaking point. How do I keep track of it all? Like business and life were starting to run me. Like a lot of information was starting to come in, right? How do you carry the entire org chart? What are all the recurring responsibilities? And then boom, in came my first and ever only anxiety attack. I didn't know what it was. I don't know what was happening. All I know is I freaked out for like a couple hours and I was like, what the hell is going on? Well, call it the universe and mentors. Then that's when the time management systems and processes, mentors and coaches came into my life. And then that's when things clicked. It only took about a month to implement. Then over the next decade, for over 13 years, we were ranked in the top productivity by employee. We were ranked in the top 200 in sales. Come on. We were just drummers. This stuff is so easy to do. I had an incredible team. Like, thank God to them. They were all definitely like smarter than me. I think the only thing I really was good at was like being a CFO and like the accountant. But all the other team, just like they knew how to run like each other and actually had unlimited time off. But most importantly, I had a lot of time freedom. My time in office went down 80%. Overwhelm, way down. I had peace of mind that everything was running well. The team had unlimited time off requests because a lot of them were touring. Team synergy and autonomy. There was clear expectations and agreements. They knew who was covering what. They knew how to do it. Then I was able to buy out another company. Then I also moved to San Diego on the beach while I had 2 companies running successfully in 2 different states. And then I exited in 2017 with a premium price. How? I had a very good business playbook that was there. And so I've been supporting training others for about 15 years, but it's about this. Over 90% of people are just stressed out and overwhelmed, and you haven't learned how to run your business operations. That's okay. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm here to be the person to give you the training so that you don't have to go through those mistakes. And they're long and costly. Like, I couldn't believe it when I figured this out. I was like, I've been doing this shit for 6 years, trying to figure it out on my own. And all I had to do was go learn this, this, and this. Like, that's insane. How much time and money did I lose? It's also about saving your mind. Biggest word I hear over again, it is overwhelm all the time. Having things run well without you, that's a gem. Being adaptable AF and being scalable AF. So what I want to dive into next is the actual path on how to get there. So from my little whiteboard here. So I'm just going to do this drawing. And this is where you all want to end up. This is my understanding where people's dreams are at. The freedom to financially, freedom emotionally, freedom of time and location. What can we do to set up your professional as well as personal life to have as much freedom as possible? So even if you aren't the owner of a business, if you are part of a team or a busy professional, you can become extremely valuable by leveraging these basic principles and tools that's there. So if you want to get the freedom, you have to be able to scale. It's contingent upon it. Freedom cannot happen without scale. If you want to be able to scale, it is completely contingent on cross-training. For example, you cannot have 3 more salespeople, 3 more Billies, 3 more Susies without one. You have to be able to cross-train easily, fast, efficiently, if you want to be able to scale. Well, you cannot cross-train with ease unless you are out of the head with what you got to do into simple tools, like tools that take like under 30, 60 minutes to onboard anyone. I'm not talking complex coding, IBM tough. I'm talking simple stuff. And this is where most people go wrong. Having clear best practices and agreements, which puts you on the same page, and you have routines to keep the entire system together. It all comes down to right here. This is where almost all the gaps are, and this is where it's actually easy to fix. So now my goal is to dive into and paint the picture of what a full system actually looks like. And for anyone watching, you can drop a comment if it's live, and I hope to see it and I'll answer it. And I'll do screen demos. And if you're seeing this after the fact, drop a comment. We do screen demos all the time with the content. So how do we get out of the head into simple tools with clear best practices and the routines to actually keep it together? So let me go down to this guy, bring this down. Okay. So once I really pulled this together, like after I sold the companies, I actually woke up the day after and I was like, well, how can I really dumb this down into one thing? Like, there is a leak-proof system so that nothing falls through the cracks. Have you ever had it to where you're sitting there at night and you're wondering, oh my God, did I not check these messages? Is my calendar up to date? Who's running the business? Where are my projects and tasks? What do I have to do? Like, it's information overload in the head, which is why using your head is the worst place to do. And a lot of people are out of the head, but they just don't know how to keep all that information together. So a leak-proof system in your full tool set looks like this. And all of these tools, except one, are free. And the one that isn't free is only like $20 a month. I see that 8 to 9 out of 10 people understand the calendar. No big deal. They're scheduling, right? Under 50% actually have a task management tool. Most of those people who come who are extremely overwhelmed have the tool, but they don't have the best practices and routines to keep it together. Everyone that I've audited over the past roughly 15 years, which is, could be like 500 to 1,000 people, none of them have had a business playbook. That's why they're overwhelmed. That's why they're time poor. That's why they can't get out out of the business and haven't run well. Because if you don't have yourself and your team into a single source of truth, one tool for everyone, and if you are operating each of these tools with clear best practices and the routines to keep it together, you're just going to have a shit show. That's what creates the shit show. So most people do have these gaps that's there. It's easy to get the tool, but once you have these tools, your solution is not technological. It is behavioral. When you know what to do every morning, midday, end of day, weekly, once a month, clear prompts, all of a sudden you trust the entire system. Literally, you know what's happening. You could turn it off. You could turn it on. You can get crazy busy, get crazy lazy. And it allows you to be so adaptable, and it moves around with your time and energy. And there's clear checklists. Maybe you've read Checklist Manifesto. Maybe you've read E-Myth Revisited, which is probably one of the best ones out there, as well as Work the System with Sam Carpenter. And I think Josh is running that well. Like, amazing books on mindset and actual strategy. This isn't about just like throwing things out there. It's actually having a strategy and a how-to guide to move it step by step. Well, when I go to audit people and they're missing a lot of the stuff, I can tell right away by my first question by how much pain they're in and how much time they're wasting. I ask first the question of, out of everything you have to do with your scheduling, your projects, your tasks, your recurring actions, all you got to do, how much are you managing it in your head versus it being written out? I'd say over 90, 95% of people say 50% plus. Right now, I know right there, they're toast. They are losing at least a minimum, I'm talking a minimum, of 500 plus hours a year. Normally, it's closer to 1,000. Super to fix. That's a big question. Normally, those people are also in email hell. They got spam newsletters. They're using their email inbox as a holding place to hold everything, their to-dos, and things they need to reference because they have no place for it to go. And I know if their email sucks, that they are in inbox hell, which they got 10 to other 15 ones to manage. And it's just chaos right here. And I check how they're doing the team. The reason why I check these first is because these are easy to fix. A lot of the people, probably like 19 out of 20, have 2 to 3 big areas of problems here on managing from their head, or they don't have a system and process for managing their emails and inboxes. We can come in and under roughly 30 minutes for each one, will save you 30 minutes a day. That's 200 hours a year. Let me say that again. These are so easy to fix. They're probably costing you 30 minutes a day. It would take you 30 minutes to fix. It would save you about 150 to 200 hours a year. But more importantly, it eliminates the overwhelm because you're so scattered and you're all over the place, right? You don't know where things go. And it frees up that overwhelm like that. And then all of a sudden you get trust, confidence, and peace of mind that's there. So when you handle these things first, you can go for the quick wins. Next thing you know, you just freed up an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and you get in flow. And then you have time to actually onboard these specific tools. I always make sure that I'm getting people into a task management tool first, whichever one they like. They're all free. But the tool doesn't matter because you got to have the best practices and routines to keep this entire system together. And it's very easy. Like I said, what do you do in the morning, midday close, once a week? And then when you get this stuff covered, you can cover your business and life on every spectrum. I'm talking purpose, vision, goals, projects, runway, and actions across multiple companies. Everyone knows what to do and how often. You know what to do and how often to keep the entire system together, right? That's where like a manifesto checklist comes into play. That's where the beauty of it needs, because your business is so important. I want you to think about it as well as your team, that you and your team, no matter who you are at the team, you're running an airplane. And for you to take the responsibility of your wing and your business with this level, there's no way you would run that from your mind. You would have no trust in yourself and your teammate if you're like, hey, your 20-point checklist that I need you to do every single day to make sure these things are running smoothly, I want you to operate it from your mind. Would you get on that airplane? Hell no. Like, could you imagine that? But this is how people are running their business. But it's okay. They just haven't learned. I didn't either. This is what really imploded me with the things. And what's interesting is when you're operating a lot from your head, you are at, let me get this down a little bit. Let's say this is lovely you right here. Most of you are already operating at peak like time and mental capacity, meaning you don't got a lot of room right there. And then you have this habit, like you got poor habits on even like how you're managing your information flows or the shit you got to do. And then next thing you know, flip open in the morning, you think you're overwhelmed now. Talk to me about your 500 to 1,000 new inputs that just came out at you and what do you need to deal with it. That you don't even have a system for all that stuff coming at you to drop into your tool. When you learn that, you become the Teflon CEO. You can hit a button. Things are through you. It's into an action system. Everything has a place. That's what organization is. Everything has a place, everything in its place. And so think of organization of your organization's org chart and your life. Like the definition is everything has a place, everything in its place. Imagine your home. What if you only had one room where you piled everything in and you had no closet? That's like a lot of your email system. That's a lot of your task management tools. I can't tell you how many times people tell me Asana sucks. No, it doesn't. Show me in 20 seconds your best practices and your routines to keep it together. Oh, you don't have any. Would you like to fix it? 60 minutes later, it's fixed. Freedom. So how are you handling all that information flowing through you and keeping into that? But your organization is, it's like your email inbox isn't your room to be holding your tasks and projects. Your calendar isn't made to be an adequate task management system. And people who are trying to manage your business playbook or your repeating areas in life, imagine all the roles, marketing, sales, customer service, accounting, financials. Think about your personal areas of life, health, wealth, romantic relationship, family, tribe, giving back. All of those are lots of areas of information that drive recurring duties. And a lot of people just don't have a good place to actually manage those recurring duties where it should be out of the head, simple tools with clear agreements and routines to keep the entire system together. This runs, I don't care if you're a student, I don't care if you think you're part of a team and you just don't have a piece of what's actually together. Anyone can run it. Most results, I like to go for like that 1,000+ hours per year. People, you can save half your time. And if you have things that are working in here, a great system is flexible. Never discard something that's working pretty well for you. You shouldn't have to come in and go throw away and learn a new tool. A great system is flexible and it will like wrap around you and it will fill in the gaps. Like if you suck here and you suck here and you don't have this tool and you don't have this, it just fills in the gaps. And the next thing you know, it becomes really trusted and that's what creates all of the peace of mind. So I'd like to show you an example of one of the tools and I hope I can see comments here. So if I'm missing comments, I'm running this from StreamYard, my bad if I do, but you can drop those in. So next, one of the things I wanted to hop into, which is what people really going is, how do we build the business playbook? How do we actually take our org chart? How do we get clear on the roles and the recurring routines and the duties that's there? Well, it turns out this master checklist system that I worked on with the team for years, like I didn't know its value for the longest time until I saw other softwares out there that had business playbooks and started to come off of this. This is just a copy of a sample playbook, a job checklist system. Let me tell you why this matters. When you have one playbook, one single source of truth for your business playbook, and you get clear on the roles, all the roles, and what each role needs to do and how often, next thing you know, it becomes a master checklist system for an individual or the entire company on what to do by time, whether if it's daily or weekly. So when you go to hire me, in under minutes, we could see everything that I'd be responsible for. And I'd be able to run my clear daily and weekly checklist, clear system, not just for the individual, but for the whole team. You can run your entire business from here. This is a pretty busy one as an example. So one, you have your single source of truth for your playbook. You know all the roles, what needs to be done and how often. I have all these templates. They're super simple. Next is it also turns into a master checklist for the god-awful SOPs that we all say that we write. And I'm telling you right now, one of the number one factors for more than 90 to 95% of the companies, even in the recent stats since COVID hit, on the ones who are truly successful, they take documentation and procedures like it is their holy grail. SOPs are actually easy. People just haven't been shown how to tie them in, how to write them. All an SOP is a how-to. All your SOP is how do you make macaroni and cheese? If you had kids, you got to roll. Your mom or dad. Probably your recurring duty is you must make macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets every single night, right? Like, oh my gosh, we got to have macaroni and cheese every single night. Well, what is your SOP? It's written right on the side of the box, right? That's how easy it is to cross-train. So then this becomes a master checklist for the status of those SOPs. For example, let's say this is one. We're looking at a managing the employees in overtime. I know the status of that SOP. It's either due, doing, or done. SOPs take a while, but you now have a master checklist for every single SOP in the organization. This is the only thing that takes a while to build and write out. That might take months, but it's great because you have a system on knowing due, doing, done. And what's awesome is as that gets completed, imagine if it linked off directly into the document. Crazy. So that whether if you're doing the job, nothing falls through the cracks. Someone else is doing the job, nothing falls through the cracks. That I, as a dummy new employee in your business, you can show me everything I'm responsible for. And this creates the learning management system of what has the how-tos. Like it leads off to the document with the text and the videos. And you keep it simple. Keep it 80% on point. Don't get granular. And it's really easy to do. So imagine that. Now you all have a single source of truth for your SOPs, your how to do stuff. And you all agree all the time. And then from there, it's just continuous improvement. This particular document, I was working with a client yesterday and I have them do it first. Like I have like steps in a course for them to go through it first. And I think it only takes like 60 minutes. And he came in, he's like, I'm like, okay, this is the last step. We're building your playbook. Like this is the last elephant. And he was super overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Why? What's happening? He goes, that's just like so much information. Like, how am I going to keep track with everything that I need to do inside of the organization? I'm like, well, what's the alternative? How are you doing it before? In your head? What kind of trust was that? But once I showed him, he got probably 90% of it brainstormed with what to do, the recurring duty and how often. Hey, he got through that really fast. Then I just showed him actually how to keep the sheet together. And when you're ready, you can start completing the SOPs. Now, what's great about this turns into an individual as well as team master checklist. But this also turns into the grand poobah, which is how in the hell can I get my name off of these lines? How do you get everything, if you're Sue, to Bob? If you're Bob, how do you get everything from Bob to Sue, right? Because your goal, like we showed on that thing before, is this guy, it's freedom. How do we get here? Like, how do we get into a single system inside of this freedom? This is your delegation machine. I could literally just pick a couple lines. You know what? Like, I'm done with this stuff. Like I need to get this off my plate. I'm picking 3. I'm going to double check the SOPs are done. Next thing you know, they're done. Call up Billy. Billy, let's go through this. You trained. Awesome. It's no longer Bob. It's now Billy. Your business playbook can handle so much. But I want to warn you that I'd say that, like I said, 19 out of 20 people are starting in the wrong place. Like they love getting the master checklist and what's there, but they have these areas that aren't quite fixed yet. The good news is, people, I'll drop this in the comment actually, I run free audits. It takes you 10 minutes to fill out a form that I review, It's like pulling your car into the car garage and running the diagnostics. And I actually take 10 to 15 minutes to do a screen recording of your answers next to the system to make sure we're clear on what your gaps are so that they can be filled in fast. Because if you want to have your path to freedom, if you want to know your end vision, you better know where you're at. And we can get you there fast. And this is how we find out where you're at. So I'm going to drop in the link to that x-ray form. And hey, people, take 10 to 15 minutes to do it. 15 minutes can save you probably 500 or more hours a year. That's radical return on investment. That's what's there. So what I'm looking for now is simply for people to drop in any questions or comments that are there. And if I'm not watching all the streams right, I know it's on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, then I'll see them and I'll get back to them and I'll reply in the comment with the actual things. But coming back to your system, it's just like over and over and over and over again. Let me find out where I'm at here. Where's my mouse? People, it's all right here. All about getting into your head, into your simple tool set. And you set up the clear best practices and routines to have it together. And if you feel that your team is out of whack, like we have a lot of managers come to us, or you're maybe that person where you're just like, there's a better way. Some managers and other just employees of busy teams, whether if they were in like a med spa that I had for a little bit, or there's a fast growing team around like a sales team, they ended up being the superheroes because first we got them dialed in. 1 to 2 weeks later, their boss is like, what the hell are you doing? How are you becoming so productive? How are you going to do this? Well, we have a system now that we can actually integrate into the team, right? People, it's the same thing. What if you could screen? I'll screen your team. I don't care if you got 20 employees. I'll screen the whole team in 15 minutes. What if you could screen every single one of your employees now or new ones before they came on for mass efficiency? What if you could actually have the system for your company that was already embedded into its own learning management system, where you could actually have them through the courses? You didn't train anything. It's already in the courses step by step. And you're like, damn, I just ran a COO time management system for every single employee. And apparently I just learned systems and processes. Because when you go to hire someone like this, let me emphasize this. You shouldn't need me anymore. You shouldn't need me after like if we're front loading a lot after the first 2 to 4 weeks. Like the goal is to teach you how to fish systems and processes, because when you learn time management systems and processes fundamentals, the mindset and the actual strategy, it applies everywhere. It goes to your personal life. It goes to your job. It goes to your business life. It's how you actually can keep it all together. It's simple. So easy a 12-year-old can do it. It's reliable, meaning nothing falls through the cracks. And it's flexible, meaning you keep what's working for you. You fill in the gaps with the other thing that's there. So I'm not seeing any questions quite just yet. Like I did have some other pre-questions that came in, and it was around like prioritizing. And one was prioritizing, like how to prioritize better. So when I hear a question like that, I go to this. Someone says they suck at prioritizing. I'm like, okay, so show me your routines and what you do and how often to keep your system together. And they're like, what? I'm like, oh, you don't have a routine on how you're prioritizing? You don't have an end of the day routine that says, what are my number one priorities again? And what are the top items that I'm going to do to move it forward now that you have clarity and then it's scheduled in the morning to do it? Clarity creates the action and the movement that's there. Confusion in the head, out of the head, shit scattered, creates procrastination. And when you get this foundation in this place and you have a master playbook and these other systems that are there, whether if it's just one sales line, funnel, maybe you got one location and you want to go to 3, that's when you can start duplicating. Let me get back over to this lovely pictures, right? You get this in place, boom, cross-train, scale, freedom. Structure, cross-train, scale, freedom, structure, 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 structure. Unfortunately, about 1 out of 25 people actually get this implemented before they get way overwhelmed. And they're just like, I'm ready to quit. And I think the E-Myth does a good job of explaining that, because they're trying to be all three personalities, which we aren't. And you got to have the system in place that shows the clear roles and responsibilities and who's doing what, linked off to the SOPs, and actually knowing where it's at. And when you do that, then the person who's baking cakes can bake cakes. And the person who loves geeking out on accounting and the other like day-to-day operations can geek out on that stuff. And the person who's the entrepreneur, visionary business people can do their stuff, right? Literally, you get the entire team on the same page of systems and processes. That's when massive acceleration happens. That's when massive freedom happens. That's when you can actually run things like no tomorrow. Next thing you know, you free up all this time and mental capacity. And then next thing you know, you do have the room for 5 to 10x more sales, but with a healthy structure. Or you do have the room to say, hey, these are good, like personal ones, real old. Hey, I want to start dating now. Most people are like, I don't have time to date. I don't have time for my health, doing these things. Well, it's probably embedded in your time management system. And you are probably lacking those things, because it's about you being able to turn all of this shit off. And you can actually not only have the time to go be with the people that you love, doing what you love, but there's another great, beautiful thing about it. It's about having presence. And when you know what to do and how often, and you trust where everything's at, you can turn this stuff off, you take a nap, you can go be with someone, you can be creative, your head isn't full of stuff. The ROI is insane, like return on investment with your time, freeing up 500 to 1,000 hours a year, like in under 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? What type of money would you be able to save on your business team doing that? What if the reinvestment, and it's not just that, like when people are saving 25% of the employee costs, when they save up that time and energy and they take a part of that and reinvest it, maybe they cut off, have some personal time, but they reinvest like 50, 60% of that back into high value oriented activities in the business. That's where the ROI comes into play. That's where serious cash starts hitting the bottom line with a simple investment. Because with these things like this, you spend $1 once, you'll get at least 10 back per year forever. That's 1,000% return on your investment. Really. You spend an hour once, you get at least that hour back every single week. Spend an hour once, get 50 hours back a year. And when you make this a priority, if you don't have the time, or you're overwhelmed or time strapped, which is the biggest objection to people who really need time management courses, right? Like, I don't have the time, don't have the money. It's like the really, really like fat person being like, well, I just don't have the energy to go to the gym. Like, I don't feel good about myself yet. Well, that's why you go to the gym. It's like the broke person saying, I'll start saving money and investing like once I actually get rich. No. That's how you get rich. You do it by investing into these right things first. So what I can offer to you is, you see that link, it can go to an audit form. I don't do the sales stuff. I just double check and I get clear on what's there, because my goal is that you're so clear on what a complete time management system looks like, and you're so clear on the gaps and what it would save you. It's not even a question. And I'll give you something and you'll be like, that was $50. I'm like, yeah, how'd that just clean that up? We just cleared up all your spam. What, we just saved you for another 15, 30 minutes, like a day. The return on investment is solid, and you can take it anywhere. So that being said, I'm not seeing any questions. I hope that, let me pull this guy down. Lovely technology. I hope that this was valuable, and I'm going to be doing a lot more lives, but you can find me anywhere on social. You can follow, ask me anything at any time and any question in any video. And my goal is, I do believe in answering them all. And it's also great for content. So I'll do actually videos on the solutions that are there. But for those who don't want a rowboat across the ocean, who don't just want a sailboat, like if you really want your stuff diagnosed for free, just to see if the time doctor is actually showing in your x-ray, if there actually is pain points that's going to cause you a heart attack, like, we'll get clear on the solutions. I hate the sales part, but I don't do it at this part. I just do the audit. We double check. We make sure you're clear. I give you something probably free or a couple tips and be like, blow your mind. Like, yeah. How else can we get you to freedom that's there? So if you want that fast ticket, like the speedboat, like the jet plane that's there, fill out the audit. We'll tie in together and we'll make it happen. Best of love. Happy Thursday.